Hi, my name is Alexa Valenzuela, and for project number 2, I chose to talk about um, the border that is between the United States of America and Mexico. I chose this because it's not only an important piece in history, but also because it is one of the many things that defines Mexican Americans. Many people who live in the United States have to cross the border or cross the wall every time they go visit their family in Mexico because they're either going on vacation or because their family's unable to come to the United States. They travel through the border. Me and a person, every time I travel to Mexico, I go through this piece of architecture every single time. And also when I'm on my way back from Mexico or el otro lado. The stereotype that is built around the border is that Mexicans belong on one side and Americans belong on the other side. At least that's how I grew up knowing it, and a lot of my family grew up knowing it. And this stereotype not only affects people as a whole, but it affects mostly Mexicans because they have that fear to come close to it, which shouldn't be a thing because people should be welcome wherever they choose to be. So this piece of architecture not only has affected my local community as a whole, but it's also affected me as a whole. I know myself, I grew up knowing that stereotype, knowing that Mexicans belong on one side, Americans belong on the other, and not necessarily having the fear because I've always grown up in the United States, but always knowing that and always knowing that there is a lot of people out there that do have that fear, so it definitely does affect me as a person. And having those relationships with family, friends, and hearing the stories of how their loved ones have been deported and are unable to come back because they no longer have that proper documentation when they were only trying to have a good job, were hardworking, and were trying to provide for their family that was either in the United States or was in Mexico. It has affected my local community as a whole in many different ways. One being, families have to get used to hugging or holding hands or just like talking to each other across the wall. So they always have that like metal blocking them from being 100% together. Or just the simple fact of having to get used to not being able to eat dinner with your loved ones, which is something that we're very used to doing, but maybe they aren't. So all these hardworking family members who are unable to fully be with their loved ones because they don't have the proper documentation or just are unable to be here definitely has an effect on people as a whole. So that is the importance of it. I think that this piece of architecture is one of the pieces of architecture built that has affected so many families in both physical and mental ways, but it is something that will probably never go away. But that was what I chose to talk about for individual project number 2. So yeah, thank you.